Now, say my name.
The Rolling Bad Podcast.
You're goddamn right.
Coming to you almost live from the soon-to-be demolished war room. Bill left the exact same stuff up there that he didn't mean to in Rio Rancho, New Mexico. It's the Rolling Bad Podcast, episode number 97.
8.
It's September 13th. You're all over the place. You're making me look like a fool. I'm your host, Elric. Nah, I love getting up really, really early. Edge, with me today is...
Well, Chuck said the Lumineth were good. Costello? I wonder if we should re-record that whole thing since it was such a
train wreck involving small children.
But you know what? It's kind of like a train wreck, but a circus clown train wreck.
Yeah.
Where you just can't stop. Anyway, yeah, the war room is not going to be demolished anymore. I have gotten over that.
Really?
Well, yeah, I was really mad at my workbenches.
Right.
But I have since fixed the 2 issues that I had with them, or the major issues I had. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to demolish them because I really do like these workbenches. There was 2 things. I didn't have shelf space enough, so I managed to get a different set of pegboard things. The other thing is whenever I dropped anything, no matter how small the bit was, it would fall onto my carpet, which is incidentally incredibly grabby and sticky. It will trip most normal humans. However, plastic has a 0 coefficient of friction, and any plastic dropped from any height will immediately slide all the way to the back underneath my workbenches. So what I did was I put up some spill guards on the bottom there. That PVA foam stuff. Just so that stuff won't go under the tables anymore. And that's the 2 major problems. But I like the way they have the shelves and the light and everything else. So, yeah, we're not demolishing. I've given up.
It's your complete lack of commitment to what you say you're going to do that I appreciate about you, Bill. It's about how you plant your flag and say that you'll die on this hill only to immediately climb back down and move on to the next one.
Oh, because no hill is worth my life. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. At the beginning of this show, I want to make an apology to every listener, so all 5 of you out there.
Right.
I just noticed while editing the last show that when I used Logic Pro to spit out the show as an MP3 at the very end of all the editing, it came out with this very crazy metallic echo tang sound in the background that I really didn't know was there.
I prefer to think that you were fully embracing your Necron love.
It sounded like Super Necron, and it was bad. I mean, the last show, in the past few shows, it was there, but not nearly as bad. This show, as soon as I hit, play the MP3 so that I could listen to it one final time, I was just like, holy, what is that?
Yeah.
And then through a bunch of troubleshooting, I still don't know what it is about Logic Pro, but I basically had to spit it out as a WAV file, use another program to translate it to an MP3, and it didn't have that nasty sound, so hopefully that issue is gone.
Yeah.
I do apologize for having it in there for a few shows. That was all me.
Yeah, well, our sound quality is something that I allow you to take great pride in.
Wow. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
No, it's definitely one of those things that we always hear about is what kind of sets us apart. So fortunately you were able to fix it. I don't do anything with it. You're the tech wizard. So I'm glad you were able to sort that out and figure out what was going on, I guess.
Yeah.
Or at least figure out a workaround.
Yeah.
So
also want to throw a big shout out to Doug over at 2 Plus Tough. He gave us quite the shout out on his show. I really want to thank him for that. I really appreciate it. He said mostly nice things about us. He loves you. He called you out, buddy.
Yeah.
He called you out.
So you can have these dulcet tones when you pry him from my cold, dead voice box?
Yeah. Well, I told him I would throat punch you for him.
Oh.
So,
yeah,
you got that coming.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
But if you don't know, and it would be strange if you're in the AoS hobby and you don't know, Doug over at 2 Plus Tough has a YouTube channel, and I believe he also puts that out as a podcast. I'm not sure, but he covers the hobby in depth, and he does these great lore shows. And his lore shows are actually quite infuriating for me because he will do a lore show on something that I just had written down as, hey, let's do this for our next show.
Yeah.
And here he's already done it, and I'm like, well, scratch that off the list.
Yeah.
But he also does, these great, sit and chats and hobby and chat and all this stuff. So it's a great channel to be subscribed to, and Doug's a great guy.
Well, maybe next time that happens, we'll just plow through and do it anyways, and we'll do it better than him.
Yeah.
Because it's my voice and not his.
That's right.
There you go.
That's the way to earn fans.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, thanks, Doug. I appreciate that shout out. That was really
cool.
nice. So, what are we going to talk about this show?
Everything that we just spent the last 4 hours talking about.
Yeah, but they don't know that we're recording the intro at the end.
Oh.
So we have to make believe that this came first.
Fair enough.
And we're thinking about what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will talk about wink, wink.
Nudge, nudge.
Nudge. There's going to be there's a ton of stuff
in New Dawn. We're going to cover the reveal show.
Yes, good Lord. And we're going to probably go into great depths. I will vainly attempt to tie it back to Age of Sigmar because it is almost exclusively 40K. Then we will talk about some of the creation that you've done.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about my lack of creation for the moment.
For why?
Yeah. And then we're going to do some game reviews, some video game reviews.
Yeah.
For Warhammer Quest Silver Tower and
Necromunda Underhive Wars.
Yes. So these are some things that we tried out. They just came out in like the last week.
Last week, yeah.
Spoiler alert, we're a little
jaded.
Yeah. Maybe a little heavy-handed, but I think we explain why.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I think so.
And then when we delve into the lore section, we answer the questions that we talked about last week. We got a couple extra, mostly just about getting into the game, what gets us into armies and
new
stuff
armies,
like
and
that.
how people should pick new armies, and or how new people should pick armies,
right?
And then how we pick new armies for ourselves,
right?
That sounds like a really good show. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
It should be great.
Yeah.
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 Maybe we should just stick to doing the intro at the beginning of the show because this sounds really forced.
Well, I don't know if it's so much forced as like we know.
Mm-hmm.
Now they know we know, but we know they know we know. So maybe we could use that to our advantage.
That's right. We can correct any mistake.
Ah, there it is. So in today's show, we have some fantastic content for you. We really brought our A game. Oh, no, that's still talking about it.
In the future past.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
In today's show, we're going to absolutely crush anything that has to do with Games Workshop and the games they're in. We promise to give you hours of unrelenting quality content. Everything you hear for the next, good Lord, how long will it be? 2 hours at least will be some of the best Age of Sigmar / 40K / whatever else we may or may not derail onto. I promise you this will be we should be charging you for this, but we don't because we love you that much.
Okay, this sounds really forced. Shall we start the show?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Thank God.
It's the future of gaming.
Yay.
There you
So,
go.
it's time for the New Dawn. They had a reveal show yesterday. No, it wasn't a reveal show. It was a Codex preview show.
Yeah, crazy Codex preview show.
I thought it was kind of cool, actually. I really I got a kick out of the videos. I really did. Belisarius call. You can't fix everything with new Primaris. Wanna bet?
The hell I can't. Yeah.
In the reveal show, they pretty much showed a good-sized chunk of the Necron Codex and talked a little bit more about something I referred to a while back, those Necron protocols. And those look over the top. And I guess the way it sounds from the blurb is you pick a protocol each turn, and then in that protocol, there's usually one or two different, or there's two or maybe more different directives, and you pick which one of those is going to be. Now, I think you have to determine the protocols maybe before the game, like what's going to be in effect in each round. Otherwise, it seems like it's awfully, you could set things up exactly the way you want it. I'm not certain.
Well, if you pick one every round, it would be similar to Fire Slayer's runes that they pick every turn.
Yeah, but you know, it's like the doctrines for the Space Marines. You know, it's an automatic thing. They're in this one turn 1, then it goes to turn 2, then it goes to turn 3. So
similar to Iden at Deepkin.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering.
Keep tying it back to AoS.
Keep going back to AoS.
For our listeners.
Yeah.
Love you people.
Because, you know, it's kind of an AoS show, even though we're freaky. Yeah. But, yeah, I would say, you know, even if they did make you pick before the game, turns 1 through 5, here's my list of what. But then you get to choose the directive at that turn. So you do have flexibility there.
I got to say that I'm not sure if I like that because I guess I'll just say like the cynical part of me doesn't like the idea of my opponent being able to write down secretly stuff that happens, because I don't want to have to this is going to sound so awful, but it's true. I don't want to have that level of trust in my opponent at a competitive level that you like, oh, wait, I didn't write it down, but this is how I played him the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it though?
But you know what? If you didn't, then basically the way my little TO brain kicks in and said, okay, you know what? If you were supposed to write them down pre-game and you didn't, you've just lost that game. Thank you very much. Bye.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to play that way, you're not going to be a winner.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of people out there who are going to play it right and be winners. So, yeah, that's just me, though.
I guess I just like to not put that kind of stuff in the hands of my opponent.
I agree. But I think for all narrative and other kind of purposes, sheet of paper with the turns. I don't even know if that's how it's going to be. Right. Honestly, I haven't looked into it that deep. This is all speculation. But, it certainly looks like a great... And again, it's the currency for Necrons is their ability to pick and choose these things.
Yeah.
Then they showed the Silent King.
Oh, my God.
And, oh, my God, there's a lot of people saying this is the most powerful thing in the game. And it's Necron, and I am just giddy with excitement.
Yeah, I just kind of glanced through the article just to look at the pretty pictures and then to see the upcoming codexes. So I didn't really get into the meat of all this stuff, but I did look at his model.
Yeah.
And my God. But I'm all on board this kind of stuff happening, right?
Yes.
Like, it started with Magnus.
Yeah.
Right, like this new power level. I mean, we kind of used to have it. The Catan back in the day used to be pretty disgusting individual characters. And you had like the Avatar for the Eldar and stuff. And they were pretty strong, but this is like a whole new tier of having Chaos Primarchs and Bobby G.
Yeah, this is Primarch level for the Necrons.
Yeah, and Gaskell for the Orcs and stuff. So I'm all on board with it. It gives me hope that like another Primarch will come back for the Imperium.
Yep.
It gives me hope that they'll redo the Avatar maybe for Eldar when that comes
we'll see
along.
Something.
Yeah. Geez, I don't even know what else he would do for some of the other armies just off the top of my head, but. I like having this option. Yeah. It's similar to AoS, right? You have Archeon, who, again, we've kind of established, we believe he's deity level. Yeah. You have Alariel. Now you have Teclis. You have...
Yeah. You have these
short of
major
being able
players.
To put, short of being able to put Sigmar on the table, which, maybe that's the 683rd chamber to be open.
My next chamber will be...
Just me. If you want something done right, you got to do it yourself.
Give me that hammer back, loser.
Yeah, right, yeah. So, good Lord.
Oh, God.
Sigmar on the table. And Archeon would probably still beat him. Because he'd be too busy trusting Nagash again. Wah. Anyways.
Yeah, if you take Sigmar, you must take Nagash.
Yeah,
you have a 2-man army.
Yep.
But each one counts as...
Nagash will always betray you.
Yes.
Right when you're holding an objective.
Yeah, every turn you roll a die. On a 1, 2, 3, you move Nagash. On a 4, 5, 6, the other guy does.
Yep. Oh, my God. That's almost like, do you remember way back when Apocalypse first came out for 40K and they had a rule for Grey Knights?
Yeah.
Where if you killed all the demons in your opponent's army, they then got to take control of your Grey Knights to kill your own army.
You betcha.
So dumb.
Oh, my God.
So dumb.
Oh, it was so messed up. I do love it so.
Yeah, and then we got even more Necron previews. And I got to say, R.I.P. to that guy who got Necrons because they're easy to paint, bro. I just spray him silver, hit him with a Nuln Oil and a quick dry brush, and I got myself an army ready to go. Yeah, not anymore. Good Lord, those models are insane.
And the new destroyers, the Chronomancer, the Psychomancer are just, oh my Lord. And it's so crazy because you look at that new destroyer model and it just throws you back to the original way back Wraith models that were just so evocative of that same stance, except without the weapons and all that. But oh my God,
I think it's it's pretty clear that when Necrons first came about, they were very heavily inspired by Terminator.
Yeah.
And they came around at a time where a lot of stuff in 40K was inspired by pop culture. You know, the Tyranids were very clearly aliens. Xenomorphs from Aliens and some other stuff. And then Tau were and still are, like an anime nod, and which is fine. I think they work and all that. And obviously Space Marines are Starship Troopers, and there's lots of that stuff. But as the game and everything has moved on, they've begun making it their own.
Yes.
And you can really see that with these new Necrons. And the last few years for Necrons, and especially this 9th edition release, has allowed them to move that army into a completely new, unique direction for themselves. And I'm really digging it. And I feel like there's kind of a correlation between their new design and that of AdMech.
Yes.
There's a lot of visual similarities there.
If you don't see that, it's crazy.
Yeah, which makes me wonder what's coming down the road.
Well, it just speaks back to that whole thing that the Dragon of Mars is a Satan.
Well, he is, right? Because, I think there was a whole novel that talks about the Emperor before even mankind launched into the stars and stuff. And,
where
he fights, he's kind of like the St. George, kind of, or Sir George or whatever, versus the dragon. And then I believe there's also a scene, I can't even remember how far back this is, but somebody shows Abaddon the truth of what's on Mars.
Right.
And he sees it's basically a Necron god at the core of Mars that's influencing the AdMech, and he just laughs.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, well, my job's pretty much done. Yeah. I don't need to go to Terra because that egg is going to crack open, and it's going it's going to be night for the Empire.
And tell me that Belisarius Call isn't tapped into that.
Yeah, right. It makes you wonder where the divide is amongst the AdMech. Do the dark, what they call the dark
Mechanicus?
Dark Mechanicus, are they separated enough from it now that their allegiance to the Chaos Gods separates them from the influence of the Catan? Is that some weird overlap? I mean, there's so many questions there, right? And then that's just the Void Dragon, the Void Dragon.
Yeah,
we still have the Nightbringer. We still have now the Silent
Deceiver,
King,
the Silent King. Yeah,
and then now wait, no, okay, I'm getting them kind of mixed up because there's also the Wanderer too, isn't there?
Yeah,
and they haven't done anything with him.
Not with that. Yeah.
Oh God.
And then what's the one in the Tesseract Vault? I can't remember, but I mean, there's
See, this is so cool that Necron lore has expanded this much in the last 20 years. Time. Yeah,
well, I mean, it was stagnant up until a few months ago. Now all of a sudden it's just
with their last book they started embracing these like dynasties and giving them their own flavor because it was just basically this massive, this limitless autonomous thing that a couple of Catan sort of influenced. It was really kind of weird and bland.
They were kind of just metal Tyranids.
Yeah,
they were kind of faceless and no personality, and now all of a sudden they have all of that in spades.
Yep. So very, very cool. I would love to wonder if there's a place where all of it is kind of condensed into a spot where you could dig through it and see the evolution of
Reddit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and Necrontier Online is one of the big forum areas that I used to frequent all the time. Not so much now, but not because it got icky or anything. It's just that I just don't have the time. But, Necrontier Online was, oh my God, all things Necron. Holy.
Yeah, well, they always have cool stuff like that for individuals.
Yep. Yeah, so the Necron reveal, just brilliant. I mean, if my heart has cockles, they're warm right now.
Yeah, and I can't help but I always do this when I see an army that I'm not really vested in get sweet new stuff. Like I think we talked about this with Death Guard were coming out, and I was just like, I have no interest in Death Guard, but good God, these models are unreal. They're so good, and all it really does is get me hyped for an army that I'm interested in that I know will have like Eldar.
Yeah, that's going to hit you in the happy place.
Yeah, like a year, 18 months from now or whatever, when they finally get things back on track and get some, the releases smoothed out again.
Yeah.
Every time I go into the store, I look at that little row that has now become just like bits of Eldar and Dark Eldar. And it's really only like a handful of the newest plastics because so much of that army is just ancient.
And
I can't help but think like, my God, what you could do with Eldar with how they design models now is just going to be bananas.
What's going to kill me is my last binge purchase for Eldar was enough jet bikes to field a pretty much total jet bike army, a Farseer bomb.
Yeah.
With, the jet bike, the Screamer bike, the
Sam
Vipers,
Hine. Or Sam
Hain.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know if anybody knows how to pronounce that stuff.
Who cares? It's only Eldar.
Yeah.
Jeez. But yeah, that was my last big hurrah for my Eldar force. And now I'm sitting there thinking, when they redo the jet bikes, and the jet bikes are pretty cool models. They are not bad. But they're going to be just so
same thing.
Outmoded.
I wonder if like the Wraith stuff will get redone too.
Here's my problem with redoing the Eldar. The Wraith Knight and the Wraith Guard are so freaking gorgeous. How do you improve it?
Well, Anders kind of mentioned like, well, what if because I don't know if you need to redo the Wraith Knight, but like the Wraith Guard and the Wraith Lord are like almost single pose.
Yeah.
They don't have those kind of like ball joints to be able to, and he said, if you redid it like that, the way the Wraith Knight is, then you could, especially with the Wraith Lord. Oh man. Yeah. So cool. Some of the most iconic old school diorama style things are like what they did with Wraith Lords, but those are like the old metal ones. You had to sit there and chop.
Oh my God. Yes.
So imagine being able to just easily do that right out of the box. It'd be really sweet. And it makes so much sense for that army they're so dynamic.
Yes.
Even things that are dead that have a spirit stone strapped to the chest, I see them being more dynamic than a Dreadnought, than a Terminator, than, stuff like that. So there's no reason in my eyes that a Wraith Lord or Wraith Guard shouldn't be able to like jump over something and do a backflip. I mean, they're freaking Eldar. Everything about that army is that.
They will have, the new, whatever they do will be amazing, but it just, to me, it harkens back to the Typhus models. The old Typhus model was one of the most iconic in the 40K realm.
Yeah.
Then they came out with the new Typhus model that, was like, hey, everybody, look, I have a staff. you know, it's just the sculpt is great. It's fantastic. The detail is over the top. The thing is it doesn't harken you back to the heft and the bulk and the amazing grittiness of the old Typhus model. And that's why people keep playing the old one. And the new one is like, yeah, whatever. It's a new sculpt, and it's great. It's phenomenal in its own right. And if the other one didn't exist, it would be the best of the best. But in reality, the old sculpt is just better. It's just better. It doesn't hold up size-wise, right? But the pose, the dynamicism of his pose is so much better. So that's why, you know, sometimes I look at what you might do to improve it, might not improve it.
Maybe.
But I think they will.
You got to go full Gaskell.
And that's the thing is they're not going to, you know, they haven't made the number of boo-boos they've made in the past 2-3 years is one hand, really. Well, unless you count to the video games that we'll get to later. Oh, that's not them, though. Okay, we could talk about apps, though. Apps are bad. Anyway, so then in the reveal show that we're waxing poetic about, they went on to Space Marines. And there was a couple of things, and then they moved on. Oh, wait, no. There was some serious heavyweight stuff here.
Good Lord.
So not only are we getting a Space Marine Codex, but guess what? Blood Angel, Death Guard, Death Watch. Oh, my God. Did I just say Death Watch? Yes, I said Death Watch.
And Space Wolves.
And, yeah, who cares about Space Wolves? They are the most dead chapter.
Wow.
Oh, come on. Okay, first of all, if you play Space Wolves, there is something wrong with you, okay? Second, I want to play werewolf guys in 40K because that's a really cool aesthetic.
Team Jacob.
Yeah, Team Jacob. Yeah, go sparkle somewhere else.
Wow.
Jarl, the Gloglog, whatever the heck they are. I'm sorry, I'm just doing that to make Andrew
I know.
Kill
I'm
me.
loving it.
Space Wolves are so awesome. Oh, my God, they're good. But, yeah, they're getting a book, too. One thing I wanted to mention for both of these, and they stressed this pretty heavily, which makes my narrative event organizer heart jump, is they showed Crusade portions of this book. And like for the Space Marines, there is a method where you can kill off a character from your Crusade force and bring it back as a Dreadnought, showing how, there is a requisition point expenditure you can make to kill the character and then bring it back as a Dreadnought.
Yeah, it's called like In Death I Still Serve or something.
Yeah, something like that.
That's right.
And they have the same thing with the Necrons where you can take a character model that I think it says survived the battle or maybe died during the battle or what have you, and it can come back with the Destroyer Plague. So it comes back as a Destroyer type model. So it's a progression thing. And I mean, that just the idea that they're embracing the narrative portion of the game to me is like, okay, you got me. Take my money now.
3rd edition Age of Sigmar, anybody?
Oh, God, can you?
So good.
God, my lips.
Especially with the Anvil of Apotheosis, what they've shown that they can do with.
God, yes.
So.
It's over the top.
Tasty. So tasty.
So then they showed the Captain with the Mastercrafted Heavy Bolt Rifle. They showed the new Master of Sanctity, who is basically the Chief Chaplain.
Oh, so they're going back to that.
Yeah.
Having two separate.
They're having the old titles that went away for a while, like the Master of the Forge, the Master of Sanctity, the Master of the Fleet, are now, I think they're going to start bringing that stuff back and make it impactful.
Cool.
So, because the Master of Sanctity is just a chaplain on drugs.
Which is what every Black Templar army needs.
Yeah, you're going to just go crazy over that.
Yup.
And then they announced Heavy Intercessors.
Yeah, this is kind of weird.
Because, well, you know what? Heavy Intercessors. Think Terminator. Yeah, I think they're just going to start getting rid of it. I mean, I know they just threw 3 wounds at Terminators and stuff.
Sure.
I think that's a sop to the old models and stuff. They're still phasing them out. I think Heavy Intercessors are going to start that role going. You have the Aggressors, which really are kind of the Terminators of the Primaris line. But now with Heavy Intercessors, you have kind of that Devastator squad mentality.
Yeah, see, I think they're more Devastator squad replacement.
Well, I mean, it's just, you can see how they're replacing all these things.
Definitely. Especially with, well, we'll get to them here in just a second. But I did think it was kind of weird because when you get the regular Intercessors, you have the option to build them with a heavy bolt rifle option, and then
Yeah.
they come out with heavy intercessors that have heavier bolt rifle options. I was like, oh, that's a little weird overlap, but all right.
I think it's going to allow you to just go back to intercessors being intercessors, nice, cheap troops.
Yeah, your tactical squad.
And yeah, you don't have to sit there and throw all the points at them to make them kind of a hybrid heavy weapon thing. Now you're going to have heavy intercessors that come in and are like, oh, kneel down, bro. I want to shoot over your head. Okay, brother.
I mean, I'm down with it. I'm all for anything Primaris. So
Yeah, you and me both.
speaking of sweet new Primaris, Storm Speeders. My God, we finally got the reveal from the potato cam picture of like 8 months ago. God, what do you think, buddy?
I hate Games Workshop. I mean, seriously, I hate everything about this company.
From
Except
the
maybe the people.
No, you gotta hate. You go full in.
Go full in, full hate.
Just hate them all.
You know what? Stu Black, Robin
Hey,
Correttis.
Grab the broadest brush you can find and just paint.
Yeah, I hate you all.
Yeah, man.
Because those land speeders, I mean,
So
it's
good.
just,
So good.
oh, God. Yeah, and it's, I was toying around the other day for my Salamanders force. I went out to the shed and got a couple of the old land speeders out. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I really need these. They're really good in this edition.
Right.
So I might as well just, build one to go with the Outriders. And now I'm just like, yeah, screw that kit.
Yep.
You know what? I'm just going to burn it on my front lawn, GW. How do you like that?
Oh, they love
I'll
it.
show you.
To the eBay it goes then, huh?
No, I think for nostalgia purposes, it will stick
God.
around.
Oh, God.
And I will build my Blood Angels force with the old stuff. Yeah, no.
Nostalgia's for the weak.
It is, isn't it? Oh, so much goodness for Space Marines and Necrons.
Yep.
And then announcing the Death Guard book at the same time as all these Loyalist chapter books.
Yeah.
I thought at first maybe they were going to just follow the same release stream that they did with 8th and, let Chaos be represented, have the Death Guard go out there and be, the poster boys for Chaos for a little bit. But then, they also did Death Watch, which, honestly, that book has needed. I have 2 Corvus Black Stars that I refuse to build because Death Watch is so terrible.
Yeah,
and
they're kind of funky, I suppose. They've always been that way, but we'll see what the new book is like.
That's the whole thing, is they shouldn't be. They're an amalgamation of all the chapters. They should be the best of the best.
Sure.
Or at least equipped that way. And instead they have, hey, here's some special ammo, and go away, kid, you bother me. No, a Death Watch force should be amazeballs.
Yeah.
And hopefully they will be. Just whatever you do not release another Corvus Black Star model. I will travel to England, find someone, and
buy the new model?
Yeah. And dictate to their face a sternly worded email that I had written earlier.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I will do. That's violence right there.
Okay, yeah.
I will exact violence. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the Death Guard announcement for Chaos Marines. This is really cool, too, because I think what it means is that they will take the 2 starter sets from Dark Imperium when 8th came out.
Yeah.
And that will be the new start collecting boxes.
Something.
So Death Guard will come out with this codex, and then you'll also be able to get to start collecting Death Guard specific box, which is cool because it's the only way to get that Lord of Plague or Lord of Contagion.
Lord of Contagion.
Yeah. And then conversely for Space Marines, when their book drops, hopefully the start collecting Dark Imperium stuff will come out, and because it's the only way you can get several of those character models.
Yeah, there's quite a few in there that are unique.
And the captain in what is that armor?
Captain in Gravis
armor. Yeah, that's the only way to get him.
Yep.
So
just the idea that we're going to see where Chaos is going, because the Death Guard are a great bellwether for where the rest of the books are going to go.
Yeah, you think they're kind of like the Dark Angels? Because Dark Angels usually, well, except for now.
Yeah.
Dark Angels were always kind of like the
leaders,
Yeah, the first book, and it kind of let them test the waters.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it hit, and everybody kind of emulated Dark Angels, and sometimes it did not go over very well.
Yeah, and they were stuck
Space
with
Marines went in a very different direction. So
Well, the Dark Angels went,
yeah, we're
"Hey,
like, wait a second, what
we're loyal."
oh,
Not really, bro.
yeah, for a long time they didn't have like heavy weapons on their Terminators. There was some weird thing, man. The Dark Angels just did not.
Oh,
get.
there was lots of things they couldn't do because they had Death Watch, and you could do Death Watch. They were locked out of a lot of other relatively normal Space Marine things.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought for a while they couldn't like take drop pods or something.
You know what? I think maybe
weirdness.
that's what it was.
Yeah,
because that book dropped before drop pods did, and they just never retroactively.
Yeah, they
added
never
them.
got back to it. So
Yeah, something like that.
but it's only Dark Angels, so
Yeah,
who
nobody cares.
cares?
Whatever.
I mean, the 7 players out there are like, hi, Max.
I love Dark Angels because I just prime them one color and then paint the bolter red, and they're cool because I also have the Chaos Marine book I can use.
You've seen Max's Dark Angels, haven't you?
Yeah, I know.
Amazing.
I've seen a lot of bad Dark Angels, though.
Oh,
too,
yeah.
so.
There's, for every amazing army you see, how many very average armies do you see?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Like average guard armies.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. Yeah.
I last year at LVO, just riding in elevators and looking into people's boxes, you know, that they're carrying around.
Yeah.
And, you know, you see there's every now and again, there's an army that's like, wow, that's an army's on parade. I mean, every model is
Converted.
a work of art.
Yeah.
And then next to him is the guy that has, you know, an entire box full of red primed something with yellow eyes and some color on the base. And that's my Blood Angel.
Especially last year, because Iron Hands were the hotness.
Oh,
so everybody had primed black
yes,
with like a silver bolter and red eyes. That was your 3-color
That
minimum.
was-
This is my Iron Hands. Like,
I've always played Iron Hands
You're an embarrassment.
since last week.
does your mother know that you go out of the house with a
With
army
that,
painted like that?
Yeah,
Good
exactly.
Lord. Anyways,
So
no hobby shaming here.
no, you do your hobby your way. And if that means hobbying for convenience to smash face at a tournament,
Just don't ever bring it around me.
yeah, that's right. But have fun, dude. Have fun.
You do you.
You do
over in the
you.
corner,
Yeah.
quietly.
Next up, they announced the Pinnacle, the thing that we have all been clamoring for ages.
Yeah, and they'd hinted at LVO
Yeah.
that they were doing this.
Yeah, last year at LVO, they announced that all of the Forge World models were coming rules-wise to the flagship company, and they were going to take over the rules. So we no longer, hopefully, will have Forge World models that are so ridiculous that they're unplayable or pointed to a place where unusable.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they announced the Forge World. It's what do they call it? Forces of the blah blah blah.
Imperium.
Yeah, no, it's something else. I forgot the name of the book, but it's basically all of the Forge World models in a book with the standard 40K team doing the rules, doing the points, doing the power levels, making sure the interactions are interactable, and yeah, my little heart is happy.
So it's called Imperial Armor Compendium.
Yes.
This compendium is
Yes.
jam-packed full of updated data sheets and new rules designed to bring all of the amazing kits designed by Forge World right up to speed with the new edition, as well as loads of updated units and weapons profiles. You'll also find a brand new regimental doctrine for the mighty Death Corps of Krieg,
Yay.
as well as the return of some old favorites such as the Orc War Boss on bike.
Thank you.
Yep, looks like the Max have finally fixed his ride. So while that's really cool for 40K, that's also really cool for AoS because there's a lot of Forge World stuff, you know, like the Rogue Idol.
Oh my God.
Like
tons of
destruction
stuff.
uses.
The Dread Saurian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So finally having all of that possibly in a consolidated. I know we have them on the app,
Right.
but having the GW team dictating the rules and stuff for 'em might bring them more in line.
Well, yeah, I know, like, when they redid the Dread Saurian for the Seraphon,
Yeah.
it's an amazingly good, I think, balanced model. I don't think it's like it used to be where it was pointed inappropriately for its power. And then, of course, the hammer swung fully the other way and it became pointed for something that it just could not bring to the table. Now I think it's about appropriate. It's the centerpiece of your army. It's your Nagash.
Yeah.
But by God, it'll do the work, you know.
It's scary.
Yeah, but it can be taken down. You know, it's susceptible to mortal wounds.
Yeah.
So I know how much you love that. So that was kind of the reveal show. It was amazing. It was fun. There was 2 videos, animated videos. That were just, I mean, the Necron one was like, yeah, whatever. Bring out the destroyers. Yeah, you could have done more of that. But the Space Marine video was literally Games Workshop poking themselves in their own eye for fun. I mean, it goes back to that thing that we keep talking about, how it's a whole new company. Did you see that article in Forbes that Games Workshop has outperformed in, I guess, the last 18 months? They've outperformed every company in the Forbes list, with the exception of AMD, Advanced Micro Devices, and I think there was one other company that they didn't do better than. However, market cap-wise, they're the biggest of all of them.
Good Lord.
And yeah, they talk about in the article how, you know, they took the money from the British government for the shutdowns and then paid it back. And the valuation on the stock right now is like absolutely ridiculous. And they're outperforming every company on the FTSE. And, you know, that spreads over to the NASDAQ and the American markets as well. So,
well, I did see that they are beating Tesla.
Yeah.
On the stock market.
Yeah, that was the big crux of the article, is they're outperforming Tesla. I mean, that's not that hard. I think I could do a startup that would beat Tesla.
Wow, shots fired.
Well, you know,
you think maybe the difference between GW and Tesla is that Kevin doesn't have a Twitter account to say all kinds of dumb stuff from?
Could be.
You know, maybe not threaten your employees to get back to work, or else, you know, you're going to.
You know, that's the thing, is I don't think it's really Elon Musk. I think Tesla's issue is it's a car company, and they have issues that lots of other companies don't have. One of the biggest ones of which is the just customer acceptance of their product, period.
Well, that and distribution too. It's
Sure.
just hard for them to sell in most states. And
well, and you know, I believe they're the ones that are going out there and laying the carpet for the rest of us with electric cars, and you know, hopefully we'll stop burning dead dinosaurs here in a little bit, but we will see. And you know, somebody's got to be first, and you know, just because the first guy out there is a crazy lunatic. No, I love Elon Musk. I really do. I mean, he wants to go to Mars really bad, so I'm behind him 100%.
yeah.
And he's got a sense of humor as well as other senses.
I don't think his brain ever recovered from that massive toke he took on the Joe Rogan show.
Maybe not.
I think
Maybe not. Maybe his mind was altered in ways we don't understand.
my dare officer wasn't lying to me. Anyways, this
Don't
is,
do drugs, kids.
yeah.
My Groff says. All right, let's move on to the Lumineth.
Yes. So they finally dropped into your. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. Bill, being the stalwart epitome of self-discipline
And restraint.
and restraint, decided to go all in on an army that he showed almost no interest in for the last 8 months that we've been trickle-fed this army. And was like, no, fam, I got it. And bought everything he could get his grubby hands on. To which I told him, I said, look, you have exactly 12 months to get that army on the table. Or me and Chad, friend of the show, Chad, are going to go buy Karen wigs and ask to speak to your manager. Okay? I will ridicule you mercilessly if this turns out to be yet another army that sits in shrink wrap and goes nowhere.
I know.
And I mean, you've done it to yourself because you've accomplished so much in the hobby over the last 4 months or so. You know, you've checked the box on your night hunt. Mm-hmm. You started on your
OBR.
Yeah, I just now realized that was the army that was supposed to be the Bill. Started on your
I knew
OBR.
that was going to come up.
You started on your salamanders, only to have the Blood Angels book on the horizon. So
Stop it.
They're going to be we've talked about this. You paint one leg black for your Raven Guard. You paint the top green for your salamanders. You paint the other leg red for Blood Angels, and you just say they're whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
It's what I need to do is like have a brown chapter.
Yeah.
That's, base colored in brown. That way I can be like, nah, in the right light it's red. Nah, in the right light it's green.
Right.
Paint
them. You should paint them brown and then give them orange helmets.
Yeah, something.
That way, and then when you lose every game, it fits your narrative.
It's totally.
Oh, so good.
We are the Adeptus Clevelandus. We lose.
Clevelandus rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, the unseen thing is the amount of just random terrain.
Yeah,
you've been able to crank out. You got another bucket of it behind you.
Yeah.
So it's not that you're not hobbying.
No.
I guess my concern is that this is another army that's just going to sit there.
I have hobby ADD is my problem because I was all over. It's funny because we're going to get to this in lore. I was all over OBR.
Yeah, you were.
That's all I wanted to do. And
it made sense because you're a death guy.
I'm a death guy. And trust me, the OBR is quite, after the Salamanders, the OBR is next on the block to be done. I know I have all this Lumineth stuff and I'm getting it, day of release, which is probably dumb, but I got to do it. They just all of a sudden spoke to me out of nowhere. Well, here's the deal is I was so anti-Lumineth because of the aesthetic, the look of the army. And then I really started to look at them and go, no, they're really not horrible with a snip here and a headdress here.
If I just completely change everything about the model, they're not that bad.
They're not really that bad. It's fun. Okay, you'll laugh, but there is a method to my madness, and there usually is. I have been wanting to do more conversions and more crazy changes. And to me, the Lumineth is an army that screams conversion.
I'm totally on board with this because that's how I feel about, like, I have a massive amount of AdMech that I know I will not get to for a very long time. But I did it because I want that to be an army that I do after I've progressed my hobby to a point, because I think it'll look so good if it's done.
Right.
That helps too. But so I get that, right? Yeah. And I've seen, like Andrew showed me pictures of he bought, they're not just called spearmen. What are the spearmen guys called? Wardens. And he like just basically chopped off the stuff on their helmets.
Yeah.
And it's like smoothed down. And I was like, oh, wow, that actually looks
they
really
look
good.
really good. Yeah.
So, and I think he said he's going to do something similar to the hammer.
Yeah.
The hammer guys so they're not so ostentatious. And I mean, it's a very simple change, and your army's going to look different. It may look better, it may look worse. I don't know, but I get it. I get it, wanting to have that project that in your head you're like, I'm going to push myself in a different direction in the hobby.
And that's the thing is, like, when I build Space Marines, I do not want to change anything.
No.
When I build like the Death Army, I'm not changing a thing on that. I like the aesthetic the way it is. With the Lumineth, it's funny, but I'm about as creative as a rock. When I see people that do art and pull it off, I'm just like, that's amazing. When I see these conversions online, I'm just like, holy.
Oh, yeah.
Where'd you get that? This is the first army that actually I look at and go, here's what I would do with that. Yeah. So, that's where I'm at with Lumineth.
Cool. All right. So. You have 12 months to do it.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You're not going to sweet talk yourself out of that deadline, buddy.
Shit.
12 months.
Poopy. Poopy.
You can go all in on your Sally Angels. You can do your Bone Reapers, but by God, you got 12 months to get
all right
on the board, on the table.
Oh, on the table.
Not, look, it's been 364 days. I'm going to take the shrink wrap off a Teclis. That's progress. Get out of here. Yeah. I want painted elves on the table that I can bash with my orcs.
Okay, but I will be doing the bashing. So
probably.
So
it's disgusting.
Yeah, I know. For Lumineth, what came out this week was, of course, Teclis and his horse that got its face pushed in. I hate that head.
The Teclis model.
Yes.
Very divisive model.
The endless spells, the cards, I believe the Sentinels came out, and what else? Oh, the Cathalar. The girl with the cup that's way too big.
Okay.
I almost said not going there.
You had two of them.
Yeah. And there was only
the cup is big enough for both.
We are not going
two
there.
Cathalars, one goblet. Is that where you're going?
Stop it. This is a family-friendly show. Depends on if your family is as diverse and twisted as we are, but hey. Yeah, and then the pre-orders were for, the mountain and some of the different other kits. Yeah, the Cow God. And I'm
telling you got to play, when you get that model, you have to put the Cow God song by Green Jello.
Oh, but yeah, it's Lumineth. They're coming. They're here.
And then the Stone Mage guys.
Stone Mage, the Stone Mages and the Stone Guardians.
Yeah.
Stone Guard.
Oh, you also picked up a set of the suppositories.
I was going to try to not cover that, but yes, I like those dice. They're actually pretty cool. I mean, they're different. They are really kind of cool. Okay, and then let's talk about mortgaging our future selves.
Oh, God, yeah.
To pay for...
This one was rough.
Little action figures.
Yeah.
And here's something else I want to say.
Okay.
It's not just Games Workshop. Screw you, Bandai.
Right.
Oh, God, those models are...
and the best part, what I like about it is, like, with the last one we got, the Ultramarine.
Yeah.
I had completely forgotten about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Andrews was like, oh, hey, this is here.
Hey, I got your thing.
I'm like, oh, cool. And that's happened to me like 3 times. The Sister of Battle special character, he's just like, oh, I have this for you. I was like, I completely forgot about that purchase. So, yeah, next year we'll get some sweet.
March, April 2021, the Bandai Space Marines, they did Imperial Fists and Salamanders. I only ordered the Salamander.
What?
I did not order the Imperial Fist. I basically personally feel that Rogel Dorn is probably one of the biggest yutzes in the 40K world. And the Imperial Fists have died as a chapter to a man in every 3rd book in the Black Library. So I just simply do not believe they still exist. They have no reason for being. They are nothing. It's, no. By the way, Elric is a Rogel Dorn / Imperial Fist fan.
I can't even take you seriously right now. No. I don't even know if I can continue this show.
With that level of salt
of just nonsense dripping out of your
spewing forth
that hole in your head.
The crazy thing is I do like the Imperial Fist, and I love how at the same time in Black Library they are portrayed as this amazingly stalwart, loyal chapter who is amazing.
They are the loyalists.
And yet they get wiped out to a man everywhere. I do love it. But, that model just doesn't really speak to me. And I'm trying to get out of this buy it for buying its sake. The Salamander I'm going to have because, Salamanders. If they had released all 3, the Ultramarine, I still would have only bought the Salamander. I bought the Ultramarine just because I thought this was probably going to be a one and done.
Right.
But now that, I see there's more. Yay, Space Marine. Yay, Ultramarines. Wow. Papa Smurf says.
There's a part of me that thinks you're being ridiculous.
Completely facetious.
But if like the next set they do for this is like a Blood Angel and an Iron Hand.
Or a Blood Angel and a Dark Angel, I bet. But
well, I'm saying Iron Hand because I think I would be hard pressed to want to spend $100 on an Iron Hand.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
I don't feel that chapter. That's the one of the loyalist chapters that I'm just like, they
whatever.
Do not interest me at all. So I get it. I get it. I'm just more surprised by not your disinterest in Imperial Fists. I'm more surprised at this is where the completionist in you drew the line.
Yeah. For some odd reason.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all right. You still have till the end of the week to order.
Yeah, and I will. So.
Yeah, I love how you're flirting with moderation, Bill. That's just
sometimes I try to be responsible and adult, but then I will just sit there and go, they are so cool.
Well, you know what they say, hope is the first step down the road to disappointment.
That's correct. I mean, that is so true. Ugh.
All right. So now that we've talked about New Dawn for like
45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break and we'll come back.
All right.
Okay, I know we said we'd come back with creation, but we just got the article on the community site for what's coming out for pre-order next week. So we'll jump into that real quick. For Beastgrave, which is Warhammer Underworld, they're doing the Arena of Death, which is the multiplayer rules. So if you're into that, yay! And then what?
So they finally they're re-releasing the Balin's Tomb from the the Mines of Moria, terrain set.
Yep.
Which is really cool. I think it's some
Beautiful
cool looking terrain.
It is great.
Well as the Quest of the Ringbearer book for The Lord of the Rings.
28 narrative play scenarios starting in Farmer Maggot's crop in the Shire, taking you right to the destruction of the One Ring and the fires of Mount Doom. That sounds like it's going to be great. That'll be some really fun small battles, I bet, as well as some pretty big major dust-ups.
Yeah, and this is a lot.
And all narrative battles.
Yeah, they got rules to create your own fantasy fellowship.
Yeah.
For example, have you ever wondered what would happen if Faramir had joined the fellowship instead of Boromir?
Yep. Is that not cool or what? You know, one guy I think that goes sort of unthanked a lot is Jay Clare, who is the rules writer for Middle-earth. Everything he's done has knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
So kudos to that guy. Well done, Adam Choke, to hire him. That was a great call. And we didn't mention Sergeant Ripper Jackson.
Right.
Which is the store anniversary model for this year, or the grand opening model. But GW said basically since every store has closed and reopened and it's been a crap year, let's just put this out there for everybody. So right now, you can get Ripper Jackson if you go to your Games Workshop store.
Yeah, by the time you hear this show,
they'll all be gone. But it doesn't matter because starting next week, you'll be able to order Ripper Jackson on the website.
No, it's just this week.
No, you can buy them in store this week. Next week they go out for sale on the yes. They go up for sale. Yes, I am. Don't forget, you can now pick up your Catacan Sergeant Ripper Jackson model in Warhammer stores. She's only available until Sunday the 20th of September, so don't delay. Get down to your local store as soon as possible. And then in the community article, it talks about how from that point on, she'll be available to order on the website because some people don't have a local Warhammer store.
All right.
So
take your word for it, Bill. I don't care. I got one already, so I'm super happy.
I got mine, and it's, oh my God.
Yeah.
Acadian lady hefting a bolter.
Yeah. I really sincerely hope this means that between this model and the limited edition Captain that we saw, that Catachin are getting redone.
If they redo even just a box of 10 that look anything like this, they will sell 50 gazillion.
Oh, yeah. Them. They'll be like the new Sisters of Battle. Because Catachins were always popular, but they always looked they aged very quickly.
Very poorly.
Yeah, so.
My head is big. Help me. Yeah, my head and my hands are
But then,
large.
They came out with the Command Squad.
Yeah.
And it looked really good.
Super
but it was
good.
kind of hard to justify wanting to put that down next to the old guys.
Yeah.
And
then next up for next week's orders, Necromunda, you're going to get the Scrutinator Primus, Servalin, and her Cyber Mastiff KB88. So you got some cool characters to add to your mob. Mob. Listen to me go. And then some hangers-on, Rogue Doc and Gang Lookout. In the Siege of Terra series, Graham McNeil did another short story, which is coming out in the super cool Siege of Terra style book, collector's edition stuff. Those books make me very angry.
Because they're so hard to get.
No, because they said the Siege of Terra was going to be 8 books.
And now they're doing all
and
this
now
stuff.
Between each book, there's this, Graham McNeil wrote this short story, and we put it out in the same sort of thing. And, it's kind of like, first of all, I love everything Graham McNeil writes.
Right.
So I'm going to get it. But it's like you sold me that it was going to be an 8-book series. Now it's actually like a 12-book series.
Yeah.
So that's the pre-orders for next week. So now.
Oh, there's a little bit more.
Okay, I'm sorry.
They're doing a order to print of 5 of the Horus Heresy books. So if you still haven't managed to get a hold of some of those older ones, I mean, we're talking about a series that's been going for 10 years.
Yeah.
Over 10 years now. So some of those books are going to be a little more difficult to get your hands on. I would say at this point, if you really want to get into the Horus Heresy and see what it's all about, I would just go audiobook.
Yes.
All of it's available.
And
they make sure to do all of them that way.
Really well done.
Yeah, so that's the way I would do it. But, there's collectors out there that like to have the physical books.
Oh, yeah.
And then, it's just mostly just Black Library stuff. And a reprint of the Imperial Infantryman's Handbook.
Yes.
Some pretty funny stuff.
Oh, my God. It's that book. We were just talking about it. I have the
original,
bound copies of the Uplifting Primer and the Munitorium Field Manual. The Infantryman's Handbook is kind of a compilation of all that stuff, plus some other. It's kind of like those, the things that the community site does, the regimental standard.
Yeah.
Except on steroids and in book format. They're so good, so funny. And yet some of it is really, really informational because it is really written from like the Imperial Guard point of view, how to fight orcs, how to fight Tyranids, how to fight these things from an Imperial Guardsman with a lasgun point of view. And some of it is absolutely hilarious, but some of it also gives you a pretty good insight into what life is like. That what is it, 18 minutes, of the Imperial Guardsman?
I forget what the title of that book is, but it's like number of hours.
Yeah,
27 hours or something.
Yeah,
like that,
something crazy. But yeah, it's good stuff. If you are at all interested in the lore and the history and the funny, get that one. Shall we move on?
Yeah, finally.
Build me an army worthy of Mordor.
God, I just love that sound bite.
That's pretty good. And one of these days we'll actually do a hobby
it.
about Mordor stuff.
Stuff, yeah. So who wants to go first?
I will go first because I'm moving, finally.
Yes.
So.
You got a free pass.
Yeah, I've been boxing stuff up. I tried to build some Inceptors. Yeah, I was trying to get a unit of Inceptors done just to kind of pass the time. But
we did our normal thing that whenever we get together, we fix the world.
Yeah.
Instead
Just
of
happened to
building
glue a bit together in the background of solving the world's problems. So, my hobby has not been, I really haven't done anything this time, because we didn't talk about, on the last show, did we talk about how you primed all my stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, you put the base coat down for me. Yeah, so I'll be able to blast through that and then you showed me how to put the
decals on.
Decals. The decals on, yeah. So, and then I'll just go ahead and say probably the next show we record, I also will not probably have any hobby done.
Yeah.
Because I'll be moving next weekend.
Yep.
So I'll try to get some stuff done. I would like to get some more of my Marines built. Actually, some of my hobby would be selling some of my stuff.
Yeah.
So I finally offloaded my Imperial Guard, and I offloaded my Quadrant Overlords.
I didn't know you got rid of your Imperial Guard. I would have bought those.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You're killing me, Bill.
Well, I mean, I have 3 paint plates. I need something to go with them.
You are killing me.
No,
I would have traded them to you.
Yeah.
That's, well, you live, you learn. Anyways, exactly. So I got rid of some of that. It pained me to get rid of the KO, but it was kind of at a point where I got all of my hobby stuff together in one spot, and I was like, I'm moving into a tiny apartment.
Yeah.
I can't take this with me.
Yeah.
So it's time, and some of these projects I'm just not going to get around to. You have to have that moment of honesty with yourself where I still have so much hobby to do. None of these armies are ready to play.
Right.
So that's finally, I have several others that I'm looking to get rid of. I don't know, maybe I'll throw them up on Twitter and see if anybody's interested. But, it's time to thin the ranks and then focus and get stuff done. But, that's why I won't have anything for hobby this time. Probably won't have any for next time.
Yeah.
So.
That's okay. Like I said, you get a pass. You're moving into a whole new arrangement, so it's a good change. Yay.
And you?
And me? Well, in earth-shattering, groundbreaking news from the front, it was funny this morning. I saw a Twitter post from a guy who was looking for a Betrayal at Calth box set.
Oh, yeah.
And angry about the price, which I can understand because it was a little pricey. But I was like, I'm sitting on 2 of those boxes that I will never, ever get to. So I just reached out and messaged him and said, dude, I'll sell it to you for what I bought it for, plus shipping and handling. And he was jazzed and I was jazzed and yay. So in a strange thing for me, I sold something.
Yeah.
It's not normal.
Yeah. But it's tons of stuff. It's stuff you're not going to use. You're just never going to use.
And that's just it. Why should it sit here when there's a guy out there that really desperately wants it? Yeah. And I'm just sitting it in my shed for what reason? Yeah. No.
You and I are never going to play 30K.
That's right. And there's no point in sitting on that when somebody else could get some enjoyment out of it.
Yep.
That one's going to be on the way soon. Yesterday, I had the priming day from hell.
Oh, yeah. So
yeah, so I used, GW sprays to prime all the terrain from the Command Edition box set and all that stuff, and a bunch of other terrain I had sitting around that I needed to get done. Yep. The Urban Conquest terrain and, some other things. And I was happy and, just spray. Oh, look, that looks so good. Bring it in the house, stink up the house. I got a big box fan for the windows so I could evacuate the horrifying smell.
Yeah.
Then I moved on to priming my salamanders.
Okay.
Now for that, I'm using the Troy out at How I Paint Things YouTube channel. He has a video on how to paint salamanders, and I did a test of that method, and I really liked it. It came out well, I thought. And so I'm like, well, I'll just spray the whole kit and caboodle with Army Painter Greenskin, which is when I learned that sometimes you pay $20 for a GW can, and sometimes you pay $10 for an Army Painter can, and sometimes you get exactly what you pay for.
Yeah.
Because I got halfway through that Greenskin can when it just literally the top not only popped off, but the can did not explode. It's not, oh my God, it blew up in my hand. No. But, it literally deformed itself into a thing that no longer sprays.
Wow.
And I was just like, I tried different caps, different things. I tried to decant it, out of that can by just pushing something in there and spraying it down. And it was it's a mess. I ended up having to throw half a can away.
That sucks.
And you get what you pay for. Yes. I would actually be happier with, some of the Krylon rattle cans from the hardware store.
Yep.
And I've had more Army Painter spray cans screw up on me. Or my favorite one was you buy a can of what they call necrotic flesh, and you start spraying all of your zombies, and what comes out is a metallic, their lead belch or their plate mail color. And I'm just like, wow, that's pretty damned amazing, because those colors have nothing to do with each other. And I was literally looking like, did I put the wrong caps on these things? No, I had to pop this cap off when I shook it this morning. First time I'd ever used it. It was simply capped incorrectly. And I was like, God. Now, maybe it happened at the retail store. I don't know. But I've had the worst luck with Army Painter spray paint. And it's not like I don't like their paints. They're great. They work super well. I just never have any luck with their spray cans.
That sucks. Yeah, I've also powdered a Death Army using their off-white, it's like a Xandri dust style paint. Yeah. Just primered it, and every single model just had that grainy, powdery. Yeah. Basically, I have to strip the entire army and start over.
Yeah. It's just, you get what you pay for. Yeah, you pay more for GW paint, but I've never had a can of that go wonky on me.
The only time I have is, remember that?
The Averland Sunset.
Averland Sunset. They don't make that anymore.
They don't make it anymore, and I think there's a reason. That was a bad, because, I at first I was like, no, I think it's you, and then I remember I started using mine.
Yeah.
And I was like, I used almost a whole can to cover this model.
Yeah.
That was really messed up.
So.
And I've had issues with Core X White, where it sometimes gets real chalky and grainy, but I noticed that after I brought it inside and dusted it off a little bit, that chalkiness went away as you dusted off the particles that had, dried in the air.
Right.
So it was good.
Yeah, and I also have to wonder how much of that is our environment.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so dry here that the primer will actually begin to dry as it flies through the air at the model.
Yeah, I think if some people that were in a more normal area watched me prime with rattle cans, they'd be like, man, you are way too close.
Yeah.
But around here, you learn that if you do that, 8 to 10 inches away thing, you will just end up with a dusty model with a little bit of color on it. But anyway, I got it all finally. Got a different can, sprayed it up, got happy. I now have a whole bunch of green gray plastic dudes. But honestly, the Troy How I Paint Things method of doing the, the salamanders is very good. It wasn't incredibly time consuming. I think I'll be able to pump out some models for that.
Well, yeah, you did do a test model.
Yeah.
And that is a finished salamander, and it looks good. It is definitely tabletop ready to go.
I like it, yep, and that's all I really want.
And like I said, we both kind of agreed that like maybe something should be done with the backpack. It's a little, it's just a big black backpack. It's a little bit jarring to the rest of the model.
It is, and it just doesn't flow.
Yeah, so just maybe a little something different on that, and then base it, and man, that thing is ready.
Well, you know what I did is when I primed the backpacks this time, I primed them with Mechanica Standard Gray spray.
Okay.
Then I came in and airbrushed them after a few hours, let them dry. I airbrushed them with Corvus Black.
Okay.
So now they're a much less black.
Yeah.
And then when I paint the balls green, I think they'll be, the top portion.
Yeah.
When I paint that green, or the, for the Phobos guys, the part where it's cloth will be a different color, more like a camo thing.
Just don't paint them blue.
No. Except for the librarian, who I looked at and I was like, I just put all these models on the thing, but I brought it back inside, looked, and I was like, damn it, that's the librarian.
Whoops.
Now I have to paint him again. In other news, in narrative event organizer news, I finished developing our local Warhammer 9th edition 40K Crusade / Urban Conquest crossover campaign.
Okay, say that 10 times fast.
And I couldn't even say it again because I don't remember what I said.
Yeah.
But, we're basically doing a narrative campaign. There's going to be 8 of us, 4 teams of 2 people. And we're going to play an Urban Conquest style. Obviously, we have to change Urban Conquest a little bit, so that's what I spent a couple of days doing, was reformatting Urban Conquest to work with Crusade. Nice. And to, get rid of the stratagems that just don't work anymore because they are parts of the game that don't exist, like the stratagem and the strategy card that would allow you to seize the initiative or add 1 to your seize the initiative roll. Yeah, okay, so those went away. And other things had to be modified because it directly spoke to different terrain types that no longer exist. So I had to change all that stuff and, put out a pack that I hope people will enjoy, and we'll play it for a while, and we'll use it kind of as a slogan. We're starting at 50 power level, and then I figure we're going to do 2-week turns, and I figure every 2 weeks we'll add 10 to that. You're not required to add those points to your army, but you can use RPs to add up, to go up to 60 and then 70 and then 80. So we can get bigger games in there, or if you're not ready, then you just play a 50 power level game or whatever it is you bring it in at.
Yeah.
Just try to make it fun for everybody and give us a chance, an excuse to go places and play some socially distant, respectable, safety compliant.
Start rolling some dice.
Games. Yeah, but we gotta get the community going back together again, because some of these people I haven't seen for almost a year now. Yeah, it's crazy. So we'll get that thing starting off next weekend. So, but that's what I did for creation. Oh, should I mention Crisis Protocol?
No,
or is that way too far out of our?
Yeah, that's a bit. You bought Crisis Protocol.
Yes, I did. Yay!
So we'll see if we get into that or not.
Avengers, assemble! Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that's next on the before Lumineth, after Bone. No, it's coming up soon.
Oh, here's the thing. I was talking with Kirk.
Oh,
good buddy Kirk, the other night, and he was building Adeptus Titanicus models.
Oh my God!
Yeah, and I was just like, dude, that is one of those games that Bill and I have had to actively ignore because if we go down that path, that's a dark.
We'll
path.
never come back.
Yeah.
So we will never ever come back.
Yeah,
Yep.
a little nervous. I mean, we flirted bad with it with Aeronautica Imperialis.
Yes, we did.
And then it was like, okay, we got to go back.
Shelf it. Yep. Put it on the shelf.
Oh my God.
Yep.
So many things to do. So
again,
time to do
more reasons to hate Games Workshop.
Yep.
Just
They could just add a whole nother week a whole nother day to the week.
if there could be like a GW day that came after Saturday before Sunday.
I'll tell you what. Here's what I would do.
Okay.
Here's my campaign pitch for 2024.
Okay.
All right.
Ilric in 2024.
Yeah. This is the Edge Costello ticket. Okay. Because we already solve all the world's problems, all the big ones. Every week we get together.
We pretty much wrap them up too.
Yeah. It's
They're
not that
done.
hard, people. Figure it out. I'm going to give all of you an 8-day week. Okay. So you're going to work your 4 or 5 days a week. We can even talk about a 4-day work week when we really get into the policy.
Could we? Yeah.
So we could do an 8-day week. You work 4 of those. Then you have 4 days to yourself. Now, you'd get your standard Saturday, Sunday, all right? You'd get your 3rd day off so that you could finally feel like those other people, you got that friend that has that schedule.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you son
I
of a-
hate
oh,
you. Yeah.
you look so rested. There's no bags under your eyes. You don't hate life and everything within it. Yeah. You that guy.
Yeah.
And then the 4th day off will be just hobby day.
Oh, yeah. GW
National
Day.
Hobby Day. Well, not GW. Like
Well,
if
sure.
you're,
It could be
you could
know,
go
fly
golf,
fishing, whatever.
you could go
yeah.
fly fish,
Yeah.
or you could push little plastic army men around the table.
Hobby
But a
Day.
whole day just for it. There's not going to be anything really on television because all those people need to be at home doing their
That's
hobby
right.
too.
Yeah.
So you're not going to miss, any sports. You're not going to miss.
All you can have on that day is reruns. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing but reruns on
Yep.
TV, and it's just everybody just sits at home and just hits the old reset button.
Oh, man.
Their brain.
I can vote for that. Yeah, I can vote if I'm on the ticket. Sure.
Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't you?
For sure. Yeah, we cover it with
There you
press
go.
and everything. Okay.
We'll
so-
let those scientists and stuff come up with how you balance it out to 8 days.
You know what?
Whatever.
We'll make Neil deGrasse Tyson the freaking science czar in our administration,
There you
and
go.
he can just
Yeah.
fix things. We'll go from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian. Now we'll have the Edgian calendar.
I like it.
I like it.
I like it. It scratches the ego. So good.
Yeah.
So if you're down for that ticket,
Mm-hmm.
let us know on our Twitter, and if we can get approximately 60 to 65 million likes, then we'll know that we have a chance.
We got a chance. Maybe do a little fundraising. But you know what? I'm thinking an 8-day week is going to make it to where we have to eliminate probably an entire month. If we get rid of, like, say, August, where everything is really hot and sets up the stage for wildfires and crap,
Right.
we could eliminate the threat of wildfires and all that stuff by just eliminating that hot portion
That's
of
your
the year.
Green New Deal, right?
That's the Green New Deal.
Just getting rid of the month of August. Problem solved.
Okay, see, we've done it again.
I mean, how are we not in charge?
I don't know.
Yeah, these guys are just making it way more difficult than it needs to be.
They're just going, put us in charge.
Think about it, people. Mull it over. No more August. 8-day week. National Hobby Day.
Yeah.
4-day work week.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real
It's the cell.
bread and butter.
That's the cell. Yep, we're on it. Okay, let's move on to
games we kind of sort of played.
yeah, hang on.
This is where we hold them! This is where we fight! This is where they die!
Wow.
So we decided to do something a little different in battle this time around because we were scheduled to play a game of my Beast Claw against your something or other, but I have to leave later on today. So couldn't quite get the battle in. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to cover a couple of relevant computer games.
Yep.
Did you want to go first, or do you want me to go
Sure.
first?
Recently, as in within like the last week, 2 games have dropped. One of which is Warhammer Quest Silver Tower, which I will be talking about, and the other is
Necromunda Underhive Wars.
yes, which you will be talking about. Warhammer Quest Silver Tower is done by the company Perchang. They did Warhammer Quest 2, the End Times, and they took over the IP and everything from Rodeo Games.
Yeah, Rodeo.
Who did
that
the
was
original Warhammer Quest. They also did Deathwatch. Deathwatch was fantastic. Such a good game. I was not a fan of Warhammer Quest 2 End Times, and then I saw this, and I was excited for it because, for one, it's Age of Sigmar.
Yes.
This is like the second game for Age of Sigmar, I think.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
Oh.
It is not good at all.
Damn it.
So it is free to play, whereas Warhammer Quest 2, you paid, I think it was like $8.99 or something, and it gave you the majority of the game, and then you could buy expansions, you could buy additional characters and things like that. This is all free to play, and it has just tons and tons and tons of microtransactions within it.
Of course.
So that's kind of the world we live in on the mobile platform anyways, except it's not just the mobile platform. It's creeped its way into pretty much every form.
It's going everywhere, yeah.
Which I am not a fan of whatsoever. However, let's talk about the game itself. So mechanically, it is exactly the same as previous Warhammer Quest games. It's a square-based, turn-based strategy game with an I go, you go, and there's resource management as far as like movement and attack and stuff like that. The thing they did change was that instead of equipping skills, like skills was kind of like gear that you equipped in Warhammer Quest 2, it's not like that in this. It kind of is. Except that, your skills don't take the slots of your gear, which was really rough to deal with. Yeah. However, and then it is Silver Tower. So everything you fight is Tzeentch.
Yeah.
So you fight acolytes, you fight brimstone horrors and other horrors and stuff like that. As far as the game goes, it is very short. It's basically you go into the map and it's move over these 12 squares to get out. And during those 12 squares, you attack a couple of dudes and that's it.
Wow.
Like they're very, very, very short missions.
Wow.
They're incredibly repetitive. They are either break these summon stones, kill X amount of bad guys, or get out, or some combination of the three.
Wow.
There's no storyline to it, really. There's no storyline. So you're not invested in the characters at all. And, it's very repetitive. It's the same thing over and over and over again, and you have to do the same thing over and over and over again so that you can get summoning stones, because summoning stones are what you use to get other characters to play. But, of course, conveniently, the more stones you have, the better characters you can summon. So you can buy more summoning stones to get better characters. Yeah, it's a vicious cycle. I mean, visually it looks really good, but it's basically just the skin. It's basically just Warhammer Quest 2. Yeah, with AoS skin thrown on top. Oh man! So there are some cool little things like you start with a quester, a night quester, for a Stormcast, and you can get different skins for him for Hammers of Sigmar and Celestial Vindicators and stuff like that. And so that's kind of cool. Overall, I would give this game a 1 out of 5.
Wow.
Yeah. Really unimpressed.
Wow.
Really unimpressed. Incredibly repetitive. Everything you need, you got to pay money for. It's not a good game.
That is so sad.
Yeah, I'm really upset about this because, we talk about it all the time on the show about how excited we are for the possibility of Age of Sigmar video games.
Yeah.
And we get them, and they're trash. This one was not good. That one before, what was that stupid lane defense game?
Oh yeah, I didn't even get it.
Yeah,
so bad.
God, that was just another terrible game. And basically all they are is just whatever's a popular style of game on the mobile market, and they just reskin it with
reskin
AoS.
it.
They
with
get some
something.
small studio to reskin it, and it's just, I don't know. It feels very phoned in and half-assed. So,
it's sad because GW licenses the IP out, and at that point, it becomes the developer to create what they're going to do, and I don't think GW has a lot of say in what the game is. I mean, I don't know what they write their contracts like, but it's sad that they don't have the control and the ability to say, yeah, no, you're using our IP in just a reskinned, money-making
I was
deal.
under the impression that their contracts are pretty strict. If you listen to how some of the Fantasy Flight guys talked about, and granted those were paper and dice role-playing games and stuff like that, so maybe it's a little different, but the Games Workshop was very much on hand. And even the guys at Cubicle 7 say the same thing.
I think there's a big difference between like the role-playing and the board game development than the digital development stuff.
Yeah, maybe so.
Because, they knocked it out of the park with Total War Warhammer 2. I mean, that's nothing but lore. I mean, that is your
Dawn of War is one of the most iconic RTS games out there. It redefined an entire genre.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I know they can get the hits. It's just that I don't, when you license your IP out to some of these different companies, I don't know if they have the ability to turn it off after the development is done and they see what the final product looks like. And, it's one of those deals where they're going to make sure that the character looks right and the skins look right and that their IP is correct.
Visually.
But I don't think they can say, and this is how the game must play.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they have that level of control. I don't know. I'm not saying they do or don't. I'm just wondering if they have to cede that to the developers and say, okay, it looks appropriate to our world. Now go do what it is you do in the mechanics of your game.
Yeah.
So,
now that being said, there are a couple more AoS games coming out. I'll have to wait till next show to maybe do a little hype piece on them.
Okay.
Because I don't think there's a lot of information out. There's some, I forget, there's one coming out, and it's titled as some kind of fast-paced, turn-based game, which seems contradictory to me. So I don't know. I would love to see something like an AoS Tactics, like for the old Final Fantasy Tactics style games and stuff like that, which is kind of what Silver Tower should have been.
Yeah.
But it's for some reason not what we're getting, so I don't know. But maybe we gotta get some of these bitter pills down before we get
the real hits.
Yeah, the real hits. You look back at the old games from back in the day, and they definitely scratch a nostalgia itch.
Yeah.
With like Dark Omen and Shadow of the Horned Rat, and you went back and tried to play those games now. It's pretty rough.
Yeah.
But then, those games paved the way for Dawn of War and for Total War, Warhammer, and things like that. So, I don't know. We'll see.
We will.
And you? Keeping the positivity train running?
Choo-choo.
Yeah.
Train wreck. Okay, so Necromunda Underhive Wars. Highly anticipated title.
Yeah, we talked about it in previous shows about graphically, like, oh my God.
Absolutely gorgeous. And the Necromunda setting is perfect for this kind of, XCOM sort of turn-based strategy kind of game. And it came out this week. Focus Home Interactive is the publisher. Rogue Factor is the developer. And wow.
Bit of a dud, huh?
Well, I like to think of it as infuriatingly excellent.
Okay.
If I can, coin a phrase from Jerry Purnell. It's an infuriating game. It is so annoying it hurts. It's also excellent on so many levels. But honestly, the pacing of this game is so bad And these are things that can be fixed with patches, which I really kind of hope they will do.
Oh, I'm sure.
But as it stands right now, like, you have to go through the story mode to unlock everything in the campaign mode. Now, I mean, granted, a lot of the stuff that you unlock is like new hair for this guy and, you know,
cosmetic stuff.
Yeah, a new shirt for the Esker girls or something. You know, it's not, we're not talking groundbreaking. If you don't do this, you don't get guns. It's kind of infuriating that you have to finish the story mode to really unlock the meat of the system. And the story, you know, they have come out and said flat out, story mode in this game is not some, you know, 200-hour, oh my God, story. It's a tutorial that teaches you the game. So for the first 3 or 4 missions, you play as an House Escher gang, and then you switch over and you become Goliath. Thank you. So yeah, now I'm into the story mode portion where I've switched over to them, and it's kind of, you know, you learn the different movement and the different crazy things with the House Escher chicks, and now, you know, I'm learning, they're teaching you different trap setups and heavier weapons with this gang, and I'm sure we'll get into the Orlocks and some different strategies with them, and I know it's a tutorial. The problem is, it's an I go, you go kind of game. So every time you select a character to play, to take the next turn, there's a random chance that the bad guy might go first or you might go first. So it really doesn't matter. Whenever it's the enemy's turn, you have to sit there and wait through their turn. The entirety of their turn plays out in front of you. And sometimes the AI is so freaking stupid that it just sits there and bounces back and forth between squares, standing up and kneeling, standing up and kneeling, standing up and kneeling. Yeah. And then
just to burn through like movement points or something?
Yeah, or something. I don't know what, because your economy in this game is movement points and action points.
Okay.
Separate pools. But like to put items in your backpack takes action points, which, you know, I'm okay with. But like the menu layout in a lot of places uses the same buttons to do different things depending on what level of that menu that you're in. And it's really infuriating. And then there's plot armor in the story mode where everyone else has a certain number of movement and action points. And then all of a sudden you're watching this one character cross the entire map, run up 4 levels and hide. And you can do nothing about it. And it doesn't even flash up and say, hey, this is a story point, you know, don't think that you can go kill this guy because the mission's going to go on without him dying, even though it says kill all the bad guys. You'll never be able to kill this guy. So I basically failed this mission a couple of times because I'm trying to find this guy and kill him, and I run out of time. And I'm like, well, I can't achieve the victory condition. And then all of a sudden you find out if you ignore him and kill everybody else, he's considered to be dead, but he's actually alive because he spies on you and he gives all the information to the other Goliaths, blah, 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 blah. They should really explain their plot armor, or they should simply do away with it and not let you see the enemy turn, just see the part that affects you.
Kind of like a fog of war type of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, to sit there, literally when you go through the story mode, 75% of the time you're doing nothing except watching them. And that to me, that kind of pacing in a game to me is, it's to the point where I love the game, but it doesn't, you know, when I think, hey, I got an hour, I'm going to go sit down and play a game, I pick up Inquisitor Martyr or something like that, you know, because that game just doesn't draw me in and say, hey, you need to play this. And I mean, the reviews kind of bear it out. It's running mixed on Steam, where most places it has between like a 40 and a 60% approval rating. It's not good. It's not great. Oh. And I mean, graphics wise, it's beautiful. Setting and the theme, and when you're running around those platforms, they are so evocative of the Underhive, and it just makes you think Necromunda, and then it immediately snaps you out of it by going, Blitvor moves, 18 times this one square, and he stands up and kneels. stands up and kneels, and then he'll entrench to get more action and movement points so that he can stand up and kneel some more. And you're just like, wow, was that ever stupid? The AI is so bad. Oh my God, is it bad? And there's fanboys out there that are like, no, you have to understand that it's doing this and this and this. And I'm like, I don't care. Yeah. I am giving you the play experience look, and the play experience is not good.
Well, that's unfortunate.
It is, because this is a AAA kind of title. I mean, this is a big title.
Yeah.
And I was kind of hoping that they would really knock it out of the park and get some real recognition on this one, but I don't think it's going to be the one that shakes.
Well, but it seems like the things that you have an issue with on the game are fixable through patches.
Yes.
Whereas, like, the things that I was having issues with, I think that is just...
They're ingrained.
That at the core, that's what this game is, and it's because it's 100% microtransaction based, it's just kind of like a money grab. Yep. I don't think they'll really fix... They're not going to go in and completely redo missions so that they're not stupid little 30-second... Or not even 30-second, like 2-minute missions.
Yeah.
And then really all it is you do the 2-minute mission, you get your chest that has a little bit of loot, and then you immediately get the option to watch a 30-second ad for another chest. And it's like, oh, whatever. I'm done with this. Like, if I wanted this crap, I would play like some stupid little golf finger
or
game,
Candy Crush or something.
Or one of these other thousands of games I'm inundated with in my Facebook feed and all this nonsense. This was a Games Workshop sanctioned Age of Sigmar game that I was looking forward to.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like, right? It feels like those cheap little stick figure jump and slide style games that you play for 10 seconds and then watch a 30-second ad.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. So,
that's a shame.
Yeah.
That is a shame. Oh, well. So our battle is basically Bummerooski on a couple of games.
A couple of real whiffs.
I have hope for Necromunda because a lot of the stuff that I think is bad about it right now can be fixed. I'm hoping they can work on the AI.
Yeah.
Really hoping, which they should be able to. And, if all you do is just turn off the view of the enemy player turn, I'd be happy. I don't need to see them running. When they shoot at me, I want to know. When they end their turn, I want to see where they're at. Other than that, I don't really care what they did. Anyway, let's move on to lore.
All right.
Because lore is cool, and that's why we're here.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
All right. So in lore, we are going to continue on with the tweets that we got. And these all kind of go together, so if we weave between the answers, forgive us. But we got a tweet from Ryan Taylor, host of the show, sometimes host of the show. And he was asking about what are some casual starter-friendly armies? And this is obviously for AoS.
Yeah. I'm
going to say Lumineth Realm Lords and Ossiarch Bone Reapers because they're super easy to learn. And no. Wow. I actually gave this one some thought, and it's kind of funny, and people are going to laugh, but I think a really decent starter army for AoS would be Beastclaw Raiders.
Really?
Well, you're going to have a small model count, and they don't have a lot of very crazy rules interactions. They have rules interactions, and they have special things that they do, but they're not incredibly tough to learn, and they're a pretty straightforward army to play. Even if you play, I'm going to go with Ogre Maw Tribes as a whole, not just Beastclaw.
Okay.
But Ogre Maw Tribes book. You can play it as ogres, and they are reasonably simple, move forward, smash stuff. Or you can have the hybrid Beastclaw, move forward, smash stuff. I think, to me, they're relatively simple to learn and play. And you're not going to be inundated with a lot of spells and a lot of crazy interactions where if you don't do these things in the proper order, it doesn't work. And positioning your models is incredibly important, and how exactly you spot them With Beast Claw, kind of almost like Iron Jaws, it's kind of like just get in there and smash stuff up.
Yeah, I think it could definitely be that army. I think that's one of the great things about Ogre Maw Tribes is that it can be very simplistic. You could, put a bunch of gluttons on the table and then run like a tyrant and then a Stonehorn and maybe some Iron Guts for like a more elite unit feel, some Saber Tusks, to add a little speed.
Yeah.
Or not, I'm sorry, not Saber. I mean, you could run Saber Tusk, but I'm thinking the Mornfang.
Mornfang packs, yeah.
And they look so cool.
Yeah.
And then as you want to integrate new things, you could add Lead Belchers, you could add the Frost or Thunder Tusk has got some shooting and stuff like that. And then you could start adding a Butcher and the Slaughter Master and Fire Belly.
Get yourself some spells.
And their magic is really cool in that it's a lot of like buff and debuff magic, so it's not, kind of give you, I think it would give you a real good idea of synergies.
Yes.
And things like that. And then, so if you can get your head around Maw Tribes, I think that would be a great launching point into some of the more complex armies like Osiark Bone Reapers and Realm Lords or Tzeentch.
Or Cities of Sigmar where there's so many options. I would say no one start with Cities of Sigmar. No. You just get inundated with options.
Such a big book. There's so many things that you can do that it can almost be a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
So, you're right. I think another one that would be very similar is the Auric Warclans.
Yeah.
Is almost the exact same way.
Yeah.
You can just put a bunch of Iron Jaws on the table and then start working and shooting from the Bone Splitters or the magic. And there's all kinds of different directions. And there's a lot of book there that you can explore too. So,
and there's, it's this whole thing of if you're the experienced guy helping out a new guy, you can help from those books. You can help tailor them an army. And that's why I also added Stormcast Eternals to this list.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can tailor an army so that person can basically learn the game slowly. With Stormcast, I mean, you can load them up with Liberators and Paladins and stay away from the Sequitors and stuff until they're a little more, you can give them Judicators and Liberators and Paladin, the old style Stormcast, so they can learn the basics, how to move, how to set up your units,
what mortal wounds are.
And get a little taste of, you kind of need to make this formation so that it works right, and then you add things later. You add some of the Vanguard Chamber stuff, then you add some of the Sacrosanct Chamber stuff, which really gets you, that's as deep into the game as you can get. I mean, it exposes you to everything. I would not say, unless that new person is completely enamored and only with Tzeentch or Slaanesh, those are not good starter armies.
Right.
It's not just the synergies that you have to look at, but it's the order, the timing of things. Like Daughters of Cain. The timing that you have to use to pull off some of the great stuff with that army you're not going to grasp that on your first couple of playthroughs, and you might actually find that new guy gets very disheartened when they have this super powerful army and they can't make it work.
Yeah.
And so, maybe start them off with something smaller, easier, lighter. And if you are the new guy, go out there on the different forums and ask, hey, what's a good army? What's an army list to start with where, I don't have to deal with all this magical shenanigans and all these crazy synergies. And you know what? They'll throw lists at you all day long.
I think those armies definitely have room to expand. That being said, so for order, like a great one to start would be Stormcast Eternals. But I know that army doesn't appeal to quite a few people.
Yeah.
And then for destruction, I mean, basically not Gloomspite. The other destruction armies are going to be much easier to learn the game with and a little more forgiving.
Yes.
Not that Gloomspite aren't fun and all of that.
Right.
Look great on the table, but I think that would be an army that somebody just getting into the game would get very disheartened with very quickly. But what if somebody is like, well, I don't know, I like death. or I like chaos. You know, I like the idea of demons and stuff like that. Is there an army for either one of those?
Well, for death, I would definitely point you at Night Haunt. Their base mechanic is good, and it's very simple. You don't have to do anything. The base mechanic of I'm ethereal and ignore rend. You don't have to do anything. It's just there.
Right.
Whereas you can also add spells, you can add hard-hitting troops, you can add cavalry. You can kind of tailor it to what you want. Now, for chaos, I have no idea where to start.
I would suggest either Blades of Khorne or Maggotkin of Nurgle. And I say that because, you know, Khorne, obviously you have no magic to worry about.
Yeah.
And you almost have no shooting.
Yep, that's true.
It's all combat, but you get some really cool mechanics to work with.
And you get the prayers and what have you.
Yeah, you get some prayers. So you get like a pseudo magic thing going on. And you do have endless prayers, so you can experience that aspect of the game a bit. But because it's so much combat, and then there's that divide between mortals and demons, you could get somebody going with a mortals army, a bloodbound army, and then as they die and as they kill, they generate summoning points to bring in demons. You know, it's a very cool visual representation on the game, on the table, and it explores their mechanics. You know, you can use the blood tithe to summon, or do you use the blood tithe to do all their other abilities?
Yeah.
Things like that. So, yeah, I think, and there's lots of synergies in a Blades of Khorne army.
And you can learn them at your own pace.
Yeah. So it's like, well, I'm going to take this one character, and he affects these guys this way.
Yep.
And now for my next game, like, okay, I'm feeling like I'm comfortable with that, so I'm going to take these two characters.
Scarbrand.
Yeah, right. And all of a sudden I have this bubble that gives a bunch of guys an additional attack, and they're immune to battle shock or whatever. Yep. Like, it's, you know, and you can build up from there.
Yeah, you can learn it in chunks.
Right. And now on the Nurgle side, it's kind of the same way, right? You have the mortals and you have the demons.
Yeah.
The summoning works a little differently. And, you know, there's so many directions you can go in that book, right? You could go in some crazy demon summoning direction.
Yep.
You could take the mortals where
all Blight Kings.
Yeah, all Blight Kings that just walk, and since they have a shooting attack, it's not great, but it's there on the profile to get an experience with that. Meanwhile, they get into combat and they just chop things up, depending on what they get stuck in with.
And which great and clean one you have.
Yeah. And then, because especially with the mortal side, with the Blight Kings and whatnot, they have some really good formations.
Yeah.
So you can start getting an idea of how formations affect your army and deployment and stuff like that. Their magic is also similar in a way to Maw tribes in that it's a lot of buff and debuff. There's some nukes in there for sure, but you know, I think because when you start getting that buff and debuff magic, it helps you experience synergies more. And really that's what the crux of the game is how can I get my army, my individual units to work together better so that they're better than your units working together, you know? And, that's, I would say, so if you want to do, if the person is interested in chaos, you know, I would say either Blades of Khorne or Maggotkin of Nurgle. I would probably stay away from Tzeentch and Slaanesh.
Not right off the bat.
They're fairly complicated. Skaven, too, I probably wouldn't get into.
Not right off the bat.
You could do Beasts of Chaos.
Yeah.
It's just not, it's not a great army, and if you want to make it great, it gets real complicated.
Yeah.
So.
And you have to know, to me, Beasts of Chaos, you have to know the game really, really well in order to strategize against the different armies, because you're going to play very differently against different armies. Yeah. And that's not easy to grasp when you're new.
Sure.
So.
And then, so for death, I think Night Haunt is a pretty solid shout. I mean, there's not a lot of choice, right? There's Night Haunt, Legion into Gash, and Bone Reapers.
Yeah.
I would stay far, far away from Bone Reapers.
Yes.
And Legion into Gash kind of falls under that same thing as Cities of Sigmar.
Yeah, it's just too many options.
A lot of stuff in there, and they all play differently depending on characters.
Yeah, and you can make some very basic mistakes in list building that just hamper you. And
a lot of it also revolves around named characters.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think you'd be wrong necessarily to do Legions in a Gash. I just don't think it would be as forgiving. Now,
it's not starter friendly.
Yeah, but visually though, I mean,
beautiful.
it's got your skeletons, it's got your zombies, it's got your classic death.
You betcha.
So that may very well speak to some people wanting to get into the game.
Yep.
But yeah, Night Haunt's probably a better idea. And then, like we said, any destruction, just not goblins.
Yeah, just Gloomspite.
Yeah, would probably be pretty good. And then Stormcast.
Yep.
And they do that job well.
Yes,
they will teach you everything you could ever want to know about Age of Sigmar.
And you know, one thing about it is it's the poster boys. They're always going to be something.
Yep.
I don't know what they are right now, but they are something.
Literally unplayable.
Oh, okay.
Just kidding.
I didn't want to go there.
No.
All right, so moving on from that, Zach Mills, he had a two-part question.
Okay, we're only going to give him one, though.
Yeah, we're only going to give him one because he asked, he wanted to know about the thoughts on changes in the next edition. I think we hit that pretty hard last week.
Yeah.
And so that was
Make magic risky again.
Yes.
Make magic. No, that's not
No, it
doesn't work.
Don't put it on the hat.
No.
But then he asked about resources for fairly new hobbyists, both in the painting and building side and the game playing side.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Now, here's one we could do a whole show on.
Yeah, you know what? We really could, because it would be filled with shout-outs.
Do you want to save that one?
Yeah, you know what? Let's do that.
Because we could do a show on that question.
And we could really... Yeah, you know what? Let's do that, because there's a lot of it's going to revolve around YouTube channels.
Yes.
Especially on the hobby aspect. And what we could do is break it down like these are more beginner-centric guys.
Yeah. Okay.
And then these are like your top-end, these dudes. If you know, if you've been doing hobby for a while and are interested in expanding your skill set, maybe these are guys you should watch. I will, real quickly, though, I see your notes here.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the things you suggest as Facebook groups? I'm going to actively say no. You stay away from Facebook
You're right.
groups.
I should have said WhatsApp groups.
if you want to argue with people about the earth being flat, Facebook is your place. If you want to find any kind of positivity in regards to this hobby, you stay away. Stay away from Facebook.
Unless you go to independent characters. But anyway, you're right.
Twitter would be better because you can, only because it's much easier to prune your feed.
And that's the same thing too, is getting the right WhatsApp groups. And
that too.
You'll
but
be nothing
make sure it's the right ones, because that could be a place of negativity too.
Yeah, you got to be in the right ones.
You got to be vigilant, man. There's a lot of salt in this hobby. But
so we'll hold on to that one for next one, and we'll cover it in depth. Scott S. asked, new armies, how do you guys decide what to work on next? Is it the filth, the fluff, the models? What's your process? And I wanted to address this.
Yeah, for Bill, it's basically you just have a brain fart and you buy an entire army overnight and then let it sit on a shelf until your co-host pressures you into doing something.
Shames you into it.
That's how Bill does it.
And I'm actually going to dovetail on that because I'm not going to say you're wrong. Okay? What I am going to say is here's how to avoid buying a new army.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure guys at Games Workshop will love to hear this.
Gonna love this bit.
Here's how you don't give your money to this company.
Yes. So, first of all, don't subscribe to AoS Coach's YouTube channel or podcast.
Yeah, right.
Because he brings in great guests to talk about ways to work with different armies, or even like his latest show about the psychology of miniatures gaming was freaking brilliant. I mean, it was amazing. But yeah, don't tune into AoS Coach when he does, a faction thing like the one he did for OBR and Night Haunt and
Gloomspite
and Lumina. Yeah, don't do that. And also, don't listen to Cubic Shenanigans, because Brandon will tell you all of the amazing stuff. Well, Dan and Brandon will tell you about all the amazing stuff when they break down this, which is why I have OCR Bone Reapers. I blame Brandon.
I feel like what you're saying is don't listen to anybody in the community. In fact, you probably shouldn't even be in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you avoid buying new armies.
Yeah, this is my problem is I listen. You know, I listened to Brandon talk about OBR, Dan and Brandon talk about OBR, and that's when I went on my OBR kick. Oh, yeah. And so then I listened, you know, I turned over to Facehammer, and when they did their coverage, and I was like, oh my God, I have to have this.
Yeah.
And then, you know, of course, I was kind of petering out on my Nighthawk. I really wasn't jazzed with him anymore. And I listened to AoS Coach, and he had his guest on who was the AoS, the CanCon. Was it I think it was CanCon winner with the Nighthawk, and hearing that guy talk about how you can use that army more effectively if you just do some different things, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm all in it now. The old standby garage hammer. One thing you gotta say, when Dave and Alex get and they do their rip into a battle tome, when they do the lore and then they break down all of the good stuff and getting Alex's insights into how a different army, what works and what doesn't work, it's, you know, that's one of those things where you're just like, oh my God, these options are fantastic. And yeah, so, I mean, literally for me, it's listening to those different sources and then watching the YouTube bat reps to see these armies in play is usually what hooks me on an army. You know, it's when I went off the deep end on OBR, it was that. It was, you know, listening to Brandon, listening to Facehammer, listening to all those things, watching a few bat reps and going, yeah, that kind of plays the way I wanna be. I want to do that on the table. And I don't want to be Petrifex Elite. I think that's just, you know, easy button stuff.
Yeah.
It's silly. But now that it's nerfed, it's okay.
Still really strong.
Yeah, it's still very good, but it's not silly, stupid, strong.
Right.
But yeah, when it comes to it, for me, it's not so much the filth. It has to play the way I like to have, which is kind of a more balanced approach to everything. That's why I kind of shy away from Tzeentch and Slaanesh, is because it's kind of a one-trick pony sort of thing. I mean, I know there's lots of different play styles, but I like an army that has, you know, a very well-known path to victory, and I can think that one through. So it's not the filth. It's definitely, for me, the models and the play style. What about you?
Yeah, it's very similar. I think a lot of it has to do with the models and the way they look. And then probably shortly after that is like the background and everything, the narrative aspect of them. I mean, I have some pre-existing bias, I guess. You know, basically, if it's a dwarf or it's an orc, you know, I'm going to like it.
In it.
So, yeah. And then as far as like the way they play, sometimes that does come into play on how if I want to do an army, but a lot of times that comes like way down the road.
Yeah.
So, you know, I went through a phase where I really wanted to do a Tzeentch army, and that wasn't. I mean, I like the models.
Sure,
you know, it looks cool, and I'm not a big Tzeentch guy. I just wanted an army that did magic really well because I kept playing armies that never really did magic. In retrospect, like if I could start with a clean slate and wanted to do an army that was all about magic, I'd probably do Realm Lords because I'm more of an elf fan than Tzeentch fan. But either way, probably wouldn't go down either of those roads at this point. So yeah, a lot of times it's the models, and the models can even rejuvenate you. I look at like Space Marines.
Yeah,
I had some Space Marines. I wanted to do them, and then I kind of fell out with them and was looking at other stuff, and then Indominus came along.
Yeah. And
I was like, oh, I'm back in.
Yeah.
I'm all in.
You hit me in my Black Templar place.
Yeah. So, and actually Black Templar is a perfect example of how it's like a blend of all of it.
Yeah.
You know, I love Space Marine models. I love the story behind the Templars. They're a crusading force that's constantly hunting down chaos.
Yep.
And then their rules, you know, and those have changed significantly over the last 20 years.
Sure.
But I loved how they got rid of all their heavy weapons and psychers just so they could run up and punch chaos in the face as hard as they could.
Yep.
And that always appealed to me. So, sometimes an army checks all the boxes for me like that. But I would have to say, models. Models would be the first.
Yep. Models, fluff, play style. I like it. So I hope that answered your questions, because we're running pretty long here. I think we'll cover the rest of Zach Mills's questions. We'll actually devote a show to that next show, 99. Wait, did I just say 99? I said 99.
Yeah, you did. I got 99 shows on a...
And you ain't one?
Yeah.
What? Oh, wait a minute. So do we want to talk about the giveaways we're going to do for episode 100?
Yeah, so I'm going to give away Bill's Lumineth Realm Lords, because I know he's never going to get around to that.
That was so not what I had in mind. No, we're going to go a little bit differently. I'm going to give away all of my Advanced Squad Leader stuff. Yeah, no.
Wow.
Jesus.
I mean, I guess I needed a coaster.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of debating. Oh, all right, let's throw it out to the fans.
Yeah.
The stands of this account. 100 is right around the corner.
Yeah, it's
and
like a
we've kind
month
of gone
away.
back and forth of like, do we want to blow out all the stops and make it some big crazy show, bunch of interviews, bunch of giveaways. We might even record it in the nude. Just whatever happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Or do we just treat it like another show? We let COVID win this battle too, and we just kind of roll right on through. And
I kind of don't want to make that much of a big deal about it, simply because it's a milestone sort of thing, but also it's not a, I don't think it's impacted anyone's life severely either. So
what's that?
Our
100th episode?
100th episode, yeah.
You don't think 100 episodes means something to the 16 people that are listening to this?
It might.
Well, let's let the 16 people decide.
There we go. I like it.
We'll throw up a poll on Twitter.
Okay.
And then, if you guys want to email us or something, DM us directly on Twitter.
Yeah. Tell us your experience with our show.
If it's worth us
If it's not hateful.
And you can send all the hate to me. I drink it in. I live on
I
the
love
hate
it.
mail. So
just as a teaser, we haven't figured out exactly how we're going to do it.
yeah.
But in show 100, we are going to have 2 big giveaways. Maybe a couple more. Maybe a few little things.
Okay.
But one thing we're going to give away, for the 40K folks, we're going to give away a copy of Indomitus, still in shrink wrap.
Oh, my God.
I know. That's big.
Yeah.
For the AoS side of the house, we are going to give away a box of Lumineth Realm Lords, a fully shrink wrapped the army box that came out. That has, I think, gone web only. So,
yeah, it's getting pulled off the shelves. That's for sure.
I think so. Those are the 2 big giveaways.
Can I win those?
Huh?
Can I win those?
Yeah, no.
I heard yeah. Oh, boy.
A lot of listening. And then we may or may not have a couple of other items to give away. But
Sweet.
For right now, yeah, definitely it's an Indomitus box and a Lumineth Realm Lords box. We'll figure out how we're going to give them away.
Probably through the mail.
Well, that's how we will ship them.
Oh,
but
okay.
how we are actually going to handle the who would win this.
Well, probably people tell us they want them, and we'll say, okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Or pay us lots of money. Oh, wait, that would sort of undo the... Yeah, no.
So if you would like to buy an Indomitus
so
box
if you want
or a
to buy the box, you win.
Yeah, guaranteed win. I'm just saying,
What I think we might do is something, I don't know, I was toying with the idea of one of those charity GoFundMes where every X amount gets you a shot at the draw. That way we could automatically add our Patreons into that. It was just something I thought we could do. We'd pick
that idea.
Pick a charity out there or a group of charities and say, yep, each X amount of dollars gets you one ticket. And then we will draw the tickets during show 100. Because I don't want to make any money off of it, but I would like maybe, have an easy way of tracking it and maybe do some good for somebody else. So
I'm down with that.
Okay. Well, we'll look at it.
All right.
We'll have more next week, I'm sure, or next time we record.
Sounds good.
All right.
There you go. We fed the masses.
Yay. We're so good. All right. Thanks, folks. If you would like to get in touch with us, you can reach us at our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/rollingbadpodcast, all one word. Our Patreon page is at www.patreon.com/rollingbadpodcast, again, all one word.
The Twitter account for the show is @rolling_bad. And our individual Twitters are, for me, @Bill Castello, BILLCASTELLO. And for Elric, it's @ElricEdge, ELRICEDGE. All of our guests on the show will have their contact information in that show's show notes. The music in the show is used courtesy of Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com and used under the Creative Commons license. The Rolling Bad podcast is protected under the Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International License. Information for this license can be found at creativecommons.org.